What's up, everybody? We've got Luna, Milo, Lisintant, and Queen Bees. What's up, everybody? And greetings from Canada. What's up, Robs? Why is that done now already? 2 seconds, let me sort this camera out again. Technical difficulties. A couple of minutes in is always good. There we go. Sick. What's up, everybody? Again, apologies for the color contrast ratio that appears on here. I'm wondering if I can actually adjust it in here. Actually, that's a good point. Can I make any changes here? No, I don't think I can. So this one doesn't look, again, it's really hard for me to try and explain it. There's a lot more contrast in this than it looks like. The colours look pretty naff up on there. So if you saw this, you'd have seen it over on Discord. I shared it during the week. Sometimes I'm drawing just for myself at the minute. So this was just one of those pieces where I was just drawing for myself, having some fun. And then I loved it so much I wanted to make it into a tutorial, so today I'm just going to practice it again, go through the process and just try and sort of give myself some mental notes as to what to do, and yeah, that's it really. We just crack on. So if you've not a part of my Discord already, there's a link in the description down below. You can go and join it. You'll be able to see this when it's proper colours. It's a little bit too, this is like dark brown. It's not meant to be like a washed out brown that you're seeing, so yeah, we'll crack on regardless. I'm just wondering if I should have done it before. Forget it, we'll sit with one more. What's up, Zuzana, how you doing? And hello from Slovakia. God, we're all over the place tonight. We're all over the place. Okay, so when I drew this initially, this took ages to try and get right. And it's like the frame, it's the window. The whole concept is based around like a cottage window. They're usually like quite thick walls here in the UK anyway. So quite thick walls, and then just 2 windows here. And I didn't want to pay too much attention to the actual alcove of the window. It's just everything is the frame, which we can see from here. Everything is just the frame, the windows. Primarily that light source coming across, and also the difference between the 2 windows. This one here hasn't got much yellow on it. We've not got any of those warm tones coming across. This is just white and a little bit of grey, and then this one's got this really nice little effect on it. Also, I was having a lot of fun with I refer to it as being very scratchy, and what I mean by that is just chucking on like very sort of thin lines of detail really. And that's what was quite fun. If we zoom into like this area here, you can see like these lines that run down the wood of the frame. Love it. It's just real simple, and it was just me literally just straight up and down, and just like these little scratches here in the window as well. And I followed that on as well, and I moved it on to the actual greenery as well. So there's a couple of different brushes in there, but then just like little zigzags and squiggles of the highlights. It's a really fun piece for the fact that it's right towards the end where I added all these extra bits on top, and it's like these really crisp, fine, bright details. I'll actually show you the difference. Let me just switch it around a second. I'll jump back into here. So let's switch this back around into here. So here's the original one, and it's like a few layers at the top. It's like an add layer, and I think another one here, and like the difference between like that as an image where it's very soft, very sort of simple. If we bring back in, say, I refer to them as kind of like mid highlights, and then again we add in then final highlights. See the difference between that and that? It's just a matter of it's not everywhere, but it's in enough places that we need it to really bring it to life and make it really colourful. So that is what we're going to try and replicate tonight. So let me just switch that around and we'll go back. So I think what I'm going to do is, if this turns into a tutorial, which it is obviously, it's probably going to be provided with this frame. I think when I get carried away when I'm drawing just for me, I get carried away in terms of I will just draw and draw and draw and draw and overdraw, and sometimes it's really hard for me to then translate that into a tutorial, because there was a lot that went into the whole process, and like a lot of trial and error, and just putting something on, hating it, coming back, trying it again, liking it, and then progressing in that direction. So it's pretty tricky sometimes to try and convert them into a tutorial. So the frame itself took a little while to draw and just get the angles right, and it's not something I want anyone to do. It's not something that I think is a lesson to be taught. So I think it will probably come with the frame, and then we'll just paint it. It'll be more like a full painting piece. So we'll go all the way through the process and create something like this. And I'm having so much fun with just very loose painting at the minute. It's so fun, so fun. What's up, Lindsay? How you doing? Sissy, how are you doing? Good to see you. Hello Joel, Milo, everyone. I've missed you all. Hope you're all doing well. I'm doing very well, Sissy. Thank you so much for asking. Rob says, I need to learn how to do that. I'd really like to know how to draw that more than the painting. Okay, that's interesting. Because I mean, how it worked out was I saw a photograph of a window, but it was at like a wrong angle. It was like, rather than mine, which is straight on, it was skewed. So I was trying to like just adjust it. It's actually a relatively straightforward thing to do in terms of drawing it in. Should we just very quickly just try and show you the process? So if we take a look at the frame, the first thing I drew in, fuck it, let's just do it. The first thing I drew in was this guide. This is my perspective guide. So this blue line work. So if we were to We good? Everybody calm? Everybody chilled? Listen, where did you hear up to? Also, can we just rate how sick this is? Chee! Alright, we'll start again. But guys, you need to say something. If it's not working, you need to say something. Do you know what I mean? None of you have said anything. Right. Woo! Let's clear that layer again. Let's go again. Alright. Are you listening? Are you listening? Everybody say I if you're listening. Also, one thing before we carry on. Today, I took a very big leap forward as a man. Some of you will know I went through a really tough time a couple of weeks ago when my barber decided to tell me that he's moving on. He's leaving the industry and he's moving into finance. So today I was a big boy and it was my first day going to my new barber's, trying a new barber, and I'll tell you what, this guy's done an absolutely beautiful job of this trim. Anyway, back to some perspective, shall we? None of you were shouting. Okay, let's look at my frame. So I sent a couple of eyes, so you better be listening. Right, so Rob said that she would quite like to know how to do this. The first thing I drew in was these blue lines. That gives me a little bit of a center point. It lets me know fully where everything is. So if we were to, I'll jump between this and doing it again. I'll come back to this version. We'll go to our color. I'm just going to set it to blue. 6B pencil is always my sketching. And then we'll go up to actions and we'll go to the drawing guide and turn on the drawing guide. So you go to actions, canvas, and then turn on the drawing guide. Edit the drawing guide and make sure you go to symmetry, options, and quadrant. If anyone's just tuning in, we're not doing like a live tutorial or anything. I'm just showing how to create the same perspective I did a second ago in the work. So we're setting it to quadrant and then hit done. So what quadrant allows you to do is you can draw in one and it allows you to then just replicate it, obviously with symmetry. So if we undo that, the first thing I drew in was corner to corner points. So I can go straight from my center point down to the bottom left corner and everything points into what is essentially my vanishing point. Then we'll go ahead and draw from down here and go down the line, pop finger on the screen as well, and also go across. So that again gives me my vertical and horizontal axis as well. So that's quite useful because especially when you're about to draw something like I'm going to, like with the window, what I would then do is create another layer. I'm going to group them together. And I'll change my color to black so you can see the difference. Then what I did, so if we go ahead and I'll jump between the two, we need to then start to block in the frame a little bit. So just like a guideline as to where certain windows are going to sit, certain parts of the window. So if you break it down, it's just this rectangle here in the middle, followed by essentially another larger rectangle around the outside. So it's just two rectangles. So if we go back to that group, I watched the chat in the corner of my eye there. It started to move a little bit. I was like, don't tell me it happened again. Honestly, I got robbed last week. Listen, everybody rating the haircut. I love you. I'll rate it. Thank you. Lindsay says, yeah, I think long term, teach us the window, then just change the view in each tutorial, multiple tutorial options. Yeah, that's a good idea. And then from there, so we keep that grid on, we can tap on this one and also use the drawing assist and then just draw in the same rectangle. So I want it to go from this point here on the grid line that we've created, go up, and first of all, we'll just make sure it goes straight to there and we'll go straight across. So like that's the inside pretty much of the window frame. And then we just want to create a second rectangle draw that down, draw that across, and that's your guide. So what this is the inside of the window frame. This is the alcove. So this is the side here of the wall. So that's like the inside. And then here is, of course, the window itself. So then from there, you can go ahead and then I would create a second layer. I would drawing assist it, but change the drawing assist now to the option of vertical, and just draw one side in and draw in the other one. So here, for example, what's this one? So if I just change that or not? Yeah. So here, for example, you'd want to just maybe draw in here and go down a little bit and then go across. And then we can sort of sketch in the bricks at the bottom here. So the little bit of brickwork, and then just chuck them backwards in here. So I'll always just sketch it super loose, but something like that. You can already see that bottom ledge come to life. Then I just did the same thing. So we created like a block here. And so you're using your guide, but you're then just really just taking like an artistic liberty here of just creating whatever you want on top of all the line work. So that's like another plank of wood. At the top here, there's another piece of wood that goes in. So we just create a block and like a rectangle basically. I don't like it when this pencil goes on its side too much. And draw in a straight line if you want, just to keep things nice and blocky. They don't always have to perfectly fit the window frame. Things can be unique, you know. And then we draw the door in on the side. So the door was or the window, it can extend slightly beyond if you wanted to, and go out from here, go down, and then we'll go up, create the window frame here. And then it's a matter of switching our edit our drawing guide for a second. We'll switch it to the option of quadrant, because I want to, this is really useful if you've got like two things meeting. For example, on here there should be a window here and a window here. Using the quadrant now, I'm doing both sides at the same time, but we are making sure that I can sort of start here in the middle, draw in a line, and then draw in another line here. That's going to be my middle window, and then I'll leave a gap, and then we'll draw all the way down, and then draw all the way down. So just using symmetry can really help, because I now know that I don't have to sort of guesstimate, is the gap at the top here the same as it is at the bottom. Things are nice and unique. So that's the whole thing really. That is the whole lot. That's your whole frame. I think, what else did I maybe add on mine? That's on 3 layers. That's actually not that bad. Maybe I was overthinking it. But yes, basically the same thing. The only thing I drew in there was another line at the top, which I don't know if I did draw it in. Yeah, it's basically that, 3 layers. Maybe I will include it. F it. But that's my stencil, so that's it. So you're welcome. Let's get on with it, shall we? Let's move that to the top. I think what happened was, I think I got, when I was drawing it myself, I kind of got a little bit sort of lost in it a little bit, of thinking, well, this took me like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So it's do I want to include that? But in reality, you know, I was working things out, so I guess it was a little bit quicker. What I'll now do is, for example, is I'll make a rectangle around this area of the frame here. So here, I think it is. Go across to there pretty much. Invert that selection and just drag the colour into the outside, and that blocks all that in for me. I can lower the opacity down of that for a second, create a new layer. So if you're just tuning in again, this isn't a tutorial. I never do a tutorial as such live anymore. It was just talking through a process. So that's it. We'll see how we go. Right, somebody got a dog? No, Rob says, I got my first pet portrait commission today. So excited. Oh, that's awesome. Is that based off of the pet portrait tutorial that is live on Friday? Or is that your own style? And what type of pet? It's a teacup chihuahua called Mr. Miyagi. Apparently he's quite the celeb here in South Africa. Damn. Rob says, geez, I really need a step-by-step for this, Joel. There are 0 tutorials on perspective. Fair enough. I'll include it. It's not that, to be honest with you, it's not the most, what I've done there is not the most technical, but yes, it is perspective based, so I can add it in. Because that is something I'm trying to do is, you'll notice if you've got early access to the Robin tutorial on Patreon, we sketch it out. We sketch out the whole thing, and likewise we did it with the parrot tutorial on YouTube. We sketched it in, and I think it's all well and good me saying, here's a stencil, let's carry on from here. But at the same time, it's part of the journey from 0 to finish. So 0 to 100. So at the minute, I'm thinking more along the lines of, I need to make sure this stays in the tutorials. I need to make sure this is like educating people on how to learn to get that initial sketch in, whatever means it may be. The tile effect to draw in the breaking an image, a photo down into like 4x6 tiles is such a useful tool, especially when you're starting off. So your window has windows. The window doesn't. So this, you see this bit here, to answer Lindsay's question. No, whose question is it? Luna's question says, so your window has windows? Yes, this area here is the windows. If we bring in the actual final photograph, this is a pane of glass, this is a pane of glass, and this is a pane of glass. I said photo, my finished one from the other day, and this is a pane of glass. So these frames here fold together to fill in the window. Now what you could do is, and where the perspective maybe is a little bit inaccurate, but I didn't really care at the time, is you would probably make these a little bit bigger, because if you imagine when they're folded in, they need to touch in the middle rather than leave a little gap in the middle. So that's yes, so they are windows, yes. Lindsay says, I don't know how you make things make sense, Joel, but you do. Let me read that again, because I'm discrediting myself there. Lindsay says, I don't know how you make things make sense, Joel, but you do, and it's easy to follow. Thank you for explaining this. You're welcome, and I'll add it into the tutorial. This is a Patreon one, hands down, so if you like it, you need to sign up to Patreon. Milo dropped a link in the chat. Rob says, I really must play with perspective tool. Please include it. There are other perspective tools in Procreate, and they're pretty nuts. So if we go to perspective, there's things you can do here which are actually pretty crazy. So I can tap in the middle and I get a vanishing point. So if I change that to white for a second and I increase the thickness, can you see that? Yeah. This vanishing point here. So that pretty much, if I drop that smack bang on mine, all of those lines match up. And technically, that is probably the easier way of doing it. However, it doesn't fit exactly my design. So what I mean by that is, if I hit done, you could use this to draw in and make sure that these lines here on the frame are pointing correctly towards that point. Zuzana, I see that you're leaving. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you hopefully again in the future. And I am catching up on chat, so don't think I'm ignoring anyone. Also, if we go to edit that perspective, you can do really mad things like, where is it? You can drag it off the screen. It's like this. I think you can add another one, yes, so you can create another perspective over here. So then what you create is, can you see this? I think you can. This area down here is essentially floor, and then this up here is your sky, if you were to break it down like that. I think you can add, is it up to 4? So I can tap again and create another one up here, which is like just really trippy. But all of these perspective lines, can you add a 4th? No, you can add 3. So that's probably something no one's really ever explored. Not so much in my tutorials anyway. Let's get that off for a second. I want to change that to, before I forget, symmetry and vertical. So yeah, just bear that in mind. What's up, Kevin? How you doing? Good to see you. Milo says the drawing grid helped me a lot to do better sketches and line work. That's awesome. I'm glad it was a helpful tool to learn. Yeah, so there's some really cool perspective content in there. So I'll make sure to add it in the tutorial, and we'll go from there. So what did I do next? I think I just need to start blocking in some content. Now, all I used for this one was literally just the Nico roll. I am a little bit obsessed with this brush at the minute. Not in a bad way though. I love the textures it gives. I love just I want to make sure the window is done in. Why is there we go. So let's go up this ledge here. The Nico roll, it's got like a good solid shape to it. So even though it's a painting brush, it's got a good solid shape to it, but we have just so much like pressure sensitivity in it, so we can really create some really fun looking textures, and I love it. Let's go down this ledge here. So I'm just drawing in the frames of the window. This one here is a little bit chunkier as it gets closer towards us. So like the Nico roll is just so nice because I can create structure like this without having to think, is it a bit too painting-y? It gives us, it's almost like a 2-in-1. You can lightly paint with it and create like streaks in the sky and stuff, or you can use it in a way where you are creating like quite just very faint areas of color. So like down here now, I'm just going to block this in. This is the bottom of the frame, bottom of the wood into the brickwork. I will block in this area here, so this fascia of the bricks, and chuck that in. Potentially just leave some areas nice and dark. And I'll create another new layer as well. There was quite a few layers in this one. I'll go across here. That's great. Lindsay says, and it's absolutely damn right, that jumper is fire, Joel. There we go. Look at that. Chee! It's just some little company that popped up on Instagram, and I was like, that's sick. So I'm all in. Raphael says, do you have any tips for beginner using Procreate? There are a lot of tutorials, and I think, to be honest, as much as mine are just like awesome, the Procreate ones on their channel are really good, Raphael. They are very good and they help explain a lot of things. However, I would recommend my earlier tutorials. Go all the way back to tutorial number 1 and make your way through them from 1 to 121 now I think we're at, or 121 I've recorded. 120 is this week. So yeah, I would go back to the early ones, because in my earlier ones I start to focus on like the core basics, and recently I've kind of like drifted away from that. And I feel like I've got enough of a catalogue now that I can do that. So yeah, just make sure to just go back and just go check them out and see what you see what takes your fancy. Now what I'm doing is just adding in a little bit of light in this alcove area, just a little bit, because that's where that light's coming across. I may add like the tiniest bit of like reverb light round the back here, but that's it. That's kind of all we're doing to get everything started. We've got everything sort of ready to go. We can go to the background now. create a couple of new layers here. I think I used this one here. Is that a new subscriber? Did I miss that? It is a new subscriber, it is indeed. Rob says, if you add it, I promise I will do it. In between 40 children books I'm illustrating and pet portraits. Jesus. Ray Antics. Hey, I've done a few of your tutorials recently and my husband has been laughing at the moment in all tutorials where I go, ooh, at understanding how it all works together. That's awesome. That's awesome. Are you doing it together or are you doing, like, are you just doing it? Lindsay says, you layer away, Joel. You know we got pro power now. Rob says, I'm a sneaker addict. They have about 75 pairs. So that sweater is just up my alley. When I was like in my early 20s, early 20s, and I was cashing in on trainers. I was buying trainers left, right and centre. I had too many trainers. It was ridiculous. But yeah, I don't anymore. I keep it easy, keep it simple. Hey, listen, Lindsay's saying there about contacting the company for a promo or discount. Listen, I shouted them out on my Instagram. If they see it, they see it. If they send me some free stuff, wonderful. If they give me a promo code, I'll sort you out. If until then, just sit down and relax, all right? What's up, Jesse? How you doing? Loon Fox, I'm going backwards in the stream conversation, but how does the perspective thing work if it was a circle? If your window was a circle, how much would you have to alter in your approach to the guides? Nothing. Draw that first layer in. God, do you know what? I'm really good to you, like, you know that. I'll show you. Let's turn off this group. Let's bring in this one again, and I'll turn off these two. Get this drawn in first. So whiz back in the live stream to go see that, and all you would need to do is go to sketching, grab your color of choice, draw in a circle, pop your finger on the screen, and then grab your cursor and just put it on a separate layer though. Don't do what I just did. We'll go to our layers, we'll create another layer. I'll change it to black so you can see that a bit better. We'll draw in a circle, we'll pop our finger down, we'll grab our cursor and go to snapping and make sure snapping is turned on so you can hit the orange lines vertically and horizontally. Go to the layer, duplicate it and just make it a little bit smaller. Pop that on those lines there. Oh my god, I'm really struggling here. They just refuse to snap onto the same. That's close enough. And then the only thing you'd have to do is, because you're trying to do like maybe a window that closes in the middle, I would duplicate the layer again. I'd probably cut half of it off. And then I would just grab my cursor and the distort tool and just literally move that out of the way over here. So what it does is it kind of flips it on itself. So like that there is kind of it slightly open, but if I go past the point where it's like 1 pixel and go the other way, I'm kind of now showing that the window's open. So if I draw in a line that goes down here, I've kind of got like the 2 window frames on either side now. If I flip that horizontally, move that to there, you've kind of then got the windows on either way. You see how that works? So they would kind of flip in on themselves. You could do it like at different angles. Probably, to be honest with you, you're probably better off. So this is me just sort of running away with the idea a little bit. If we go to uniform and we scale that down a little bit, you probably want a little bit more space on the sides. And then do the same thing. Duplicate the circle, get rid of half of it, clear that. And then use the distort option and just flip it back on itself, because then that way you've got a little bit more space on either side to actually sort of show that the frame a bit more. What you can then also do is drag this point up at the top a little bit. I mean, you could keep dragging that all the way up here, to be honest with you, because this line here, as long as this, you see this top angle of the circle, if that makes its way perfectly in towards that center point, then your perspective is correct. So I would say something like that is pretty accurate. That's somewhat close enough that it's gonna, if you ran down that in a straight line, you'd hit the center circle. And then all you need to do is just make sure that this circle here, this node, hits that center point, and tap on your cursor, and that would kind of give you the illusion a little bit that this window's really coming out at you. So like you would maybe draw in like a handle of some sort there potentially, and draw in the other part of the frame on the back area there, or maybe even a little sort of connection in the middle of the frame and like another bit here, so that the glass is this space here. See what I mean? And then just duplicate that, flip it over. Something like that. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Let's get back into here. Yes, let's go back into here. Rayantic says, I'm just doing it myself, and he waits for the noise to come and sees what I figured out. That's awesome. Rob says, no such thing as too many sneakers. However, having said that, I buy too many brushes now. You better have bought mine then. You need to pattern your game better, Joe. I need a what? Always giving me stick. Jesse says, I'm good, Joe. I hope you're doing as good as well. I am indeed. I'm doing great. Jay, we're drawing this that I posted over on Discord. Again, the colours are not accurate. Just as a note, they're a little bit darker. The contrast is off. You know, if I ever manage to save some pennies, I will get a proper camera, and you'll just be blown away by how amazing the colours are. But until then, just, you know, bear with me. So I'm redoing this because I'm not redoing it. I want to do it again. I want to get it in again and have another crack at it because I want to turn it into a tutorial. Like a little hobbit door. Yeah, exactly. Oh, stop it, Luna. Very, very kind. Lindsay was... where are your brushes, Joel? Why haven't I seen them? Rob, you joking? Thank you, Milo. Rob, are you? What tier of Patreon are you? I can't remember. If you, I can't remember off the top of my head. But if you are a superstar supporter on Patreon, you get 40% off the brushes. So make sure to go check your mail for your discount code, or just send me a message and I can send it to you. But if you're a superstar supporter, you get 40% off brushes. Right. You gotta be careful with what you say in this chat, Luna. You gotta be very careful. The T word is technically banned. You know, I'll start this. I'll put you on the naughty step for 5 minutes. We used to have people. I tell you, if for anyone who's somewhat new here, the story it goes is that like I was on. I think it was Instagram, and I used to draw for myself and post, like I would post say this to Instagram because that's what I drew that day, and people were like, I had just one guy and he was like tutorial, like not like, hey Joe, you're a human being, you know, I thought it would be really cool if you wouldn't mind teaching us how to do this. I'd love it if you did a tutorial, that would be wonderful, have a great day. Nah, I'm just a flipping machine and I am here to merely serve. So that's how that story goes. That's why sometimes you can get put in timeout for 5 minutes if you say, oh, I want this as a tutorial. it's just a joke, to be honest with you. I'm pretty light-hearted. I don't give a damn too much, but it's just a running rule, really. So you better be careful, you lot. Right, let's get these bricks in here. Simple lines, simple shapes. Not making sure the bricks are the same sort of width, not making sure that the bricks are, you know, the gaps in between are painted the same. I'm just drawing them in as I wish. Yeah, I know, Lindsay, I know. It's all good, it's all good. I'm not gonna start dishing any punishment. Yeah, it's all good, Luna. I'm only messing with you. You're an insider now, exactly. Kevin, well, all we can see is images on a screen. Joel, could you be an advanced AI? Queen Bee says, can you buy the brushes alone? Yes, you can. The brushes, or what? A single brush. You can't buy a single brush. You can buy either one of the 3 packs though, or you can buy the multi-pack. It's up to you. Multi-pack is obviously better value. They come with exclusive tutorials as well. That's probably one thing to mention. They come with exclusive tutorials. If you go to before you buy any of my brushes, save yourself a second, go to my channel and check out the premium playlist of tutorials. They are tutorials that are only for people who buy the brushes, in terms of you can only complete that tutorial if you have the premium brushes. So just bear that in mind. Windows next. Let's get some colour in behind these windows. So this is where I was like just really having some fun with it. Just like chucking in some colour. Chucking some colour in here behind the windows. Just like, don't have to make them super perfect, but just a little bit of like colour making their way onto the glass. A little something like that. Let's also create a new layer and clip it to the frame. Let's turn off the guide. And let's grab this colour here. And like sometimes not keeping your lines nice and straight either, just I think looks really good, adds a lot of character. Especially like in a painting style like this, I think they look great. So I'm painting the inside because I know where the light source is going to come from in a second. So I can just give these a little bit more light on the frame, pointing inwards towards where our light will be. I'm going to go ahead and add the background in before I carry on. I think that's what I was about to do. Do it the old school way. I think the next one, I really can't remember the colours. Yeah, it's like this brown here is the base colour followed by the green. But that can't be the same all the way back. No, because that is it. So I'm talking to myself, apologies. That is actually that one. And then this one is the next one, yes. So this also sort of makes its way down towards like a valley. Sorry if there's any shaking on the camera. Let me just get this in and I'll catch back up with you. Maybe create like a bit more of a little ledge on the right there. And then we create a third one, and this is just like the horizon line. Great stuff. Let's... Joel, man. Put it on a separate layer. Well, you lot are flying. Hang on. I can see you always in the corner of my eye. But just need to get this done and I'll be with you. Can I just point out a really simple thing that I don't think many people know? Let me just change my eraser. Let's just change it to something we know, like the soft airbrush, okay? That's my eraser. You can see how big that is. I don't know if people know this. If I'm using the Nico roll, for example, under painting, and I'm painting away, and I want to use that brush as an eraser, all I have to do is hold down on the eraser button, straight away, hold down on it, and it will say edit has now changed to the current brush, and now I'm no longer using the soft airbrush, I'm using the Nico roll. So you can copy the same one that you're using on your brush. Right, you lot flying. Whoa. Right, catching up. Jesus, what's happened? Okay, Gumroad. Luna says... you can see the size of the brush when you're painting on settings. Yes, if you want to see the head of your brush, just go to Actions, go to Preferences, and turn on Brush Cursor here. That shows you the outline of the brush head. So that's that question answered. Let me catch up. Raphael, it's in the hover. Oh no, not necessarily the hover feature. It's not. You can show it while you're drawing, but only if you've made contact with the page. It's not necessarily just for the M versions. What's up, Desk? How you doing? Is that a chalk brush? It is the Nico roll brush under painting. So go to painting and Nico roll. The first one, Jay, took me about an hour and a half, 2 hours to draw the first one. Unless you're in this chat, then you learn like 20 new things in 40 minutes. True. I just upgraded from the Air to the M1 because it was on sale. Nice. By the way, guys, you don't have to have the latest. I'm just saying, like, just as a heads up, you don't have to have the latest iPad to do anything. I use a 2018 iPad Pro. It has the A16 chip, I think, in it. So it's not even moved on to the M series chips. It's on the A16. And I have no problems at all. And I draw millions of hours a week and do all the whole channel from this one iPad. So I use a 2018 11-inch iPad Pro. That's all I do. And I get plenty of layers and never face a problem with that. However, somebody just said it there at the corner of my eye. If they bring out a 16-inch iPad Pro, you best believe I'm buying it. I'm getting it. I don't give a damn. It's down as a business expense, you know what I'm saying? It's I am 100% involved on that one. Nico roll for the sky. It just comes together. Got lots of texture. But yeah, you do not need the latest iPad. If that's what you think you need, that is not the case. I love my iPad. I don't have any problems with it at all. Hence why I've not bothered upgrading. And I obviously do all of this stuff from Joel Create on here, so. I think some people, especially in the Apple space, I'm guilty of it. I know I am. So I'm not picking on anyone. Don't worry. But I'm very guilty, for example, of thinking I always have to have the latest and greatest one because you don't want to miss out. But there are very good options out there for, for what you want to achieve. You don't have to have the latest one all the time. Lindsay says, so true. Oh, sorry. Milo says you can have fun regardless what iPad you have. Lindsay says so true as well. I only upgraded mine, was proper old and had limited layers. So that's one thing to consider. If you have a really old one and you're starting to do tutorials and the person doing the tutorial, for example, there's no consideration for like the layer amount used and you have to try and keep up, then yeah, at that point I would suggest, if you're constantly thinking about how to reel in a tutorial to be able to participate and stuff like that, 100%, just take the hit, get your layers in. There's nothing more frustrating than trying to you're making your way through something and then you're hit with a layer count. I can't remember what colour I used for this, but we're going to roll with this. It all fades together shortly anyway. Yeah, so what I typically do is I always take like a boatload of screenshots of my work as I'm making my way through a design, especially if I think or get like an inkling that I think, oh, hang on, this is getting to get pretty close to me probably making a tutorial on this. I should probably, make some notes. That always happens, and I typically always make notes with like screenshots. So I've like got a boatload of screenshots that say, do this for this section, do this for this section, which is how I typically try to, sort of plan these tutorials. That's kind of the process of how it all sort of comes together. So that all just wants to sort of blend into one valley as such. We'll come back to it later on. Lindsay says, oh guys, update, absolutely love the magnetic screen protector, it's lasting great, it's awesome, I love it. Little peel on and off jobby, it's awesome. Milo says upgraded because I need more layers and want to grow my art for doing more art, etc. Exactly, that's fine, that's perfectly normal. A lot of people come into the Procreate space with like a smaller iPad and will slowly make their way up towards like a pro model or something like that, but slowly make your way there. Don't feel like you need to rush your way there. Painting. Set to add, I think. Yes. God, beautiful that looks. Very exposed on the camera, but we'll roll with it. Let's change this down a little bit, and then let's just chuck in some highlights on the valley that we've created, especially there in the distance. Oh, it's just so fun. Just the Nico and just the painting effect is just so fun. And now when you zoom out, you've given your hills a lot more colour and a lot more fun. Okay, that's nice. I think the sky in the background just needs a little bit more love, and I don't know what the solution is. I think it's maybe this yellow here, just a little bit more yellow towards this sort of scale down here. Push up the yellow a bit higher, and you can see how loose I'm being with it. That's exactly what I would want you to do when this comes around to a tutorial. Just keep it loose, baby. Nice and loose. Real nice and easy. Let's chuck in some colour over here. So the lighting is coming across, so I know I can like brighten up these bricks over here. Let that just roll over the edge of the bricks. I think we go in with the darker tone of the background and like get rid of some of this like front surface area, especially over here. And then using this brush really sparingly, we can really chip away into our shadows. So like over here, start to build in these these bricks. And chucking this in. So the lighting, yes, it's coming this way. It's blocked by the wood. So just behind the wood, I can be nice and bold with the shadow and just let that streak its way across towards the front of the brick. So they came together quite quickly there. I also did like really nice things where I think I went in with like this color here, and then just on the where the like concrete here is sort of in the inside here of the bricks, just added in like a little bit of a slightly brighter edge, which is just like really getting hit by that sunlight, like a little bit here, and then here a little bit. That adds a little bit more depth to the brick surface. And then I think I actually ran over it with, see how much more contrast I actually end up building into here. The stucco brush. This is I don't know why I nearly swore there. I'm sorry. This brush is sick and I love it. We go into painting, we go into stucco, and we add in some beautiful texture, nice and rocky texture, super nice and easy. Gives you that nice real life randomness to everything. We can hack away at the bottom of the bricks here because we're not interested in that. Add that in there. Then we can go back in, we can add in more colour if needs be. Go back to Nico. That's a beast of an iPad, Robs. That is a beast. Luna says, how was your battery life for you all too? Mine's awesome. I mean, I go for a whole day, but I'm on my iPad all day, every day. So if I have no complaints, which is good. I'd be absolutely screwed if I did though. Lovely stuff, lovely stuff. Lindsay says, Luna, I love the pen mat one, Joel. Recommended it. It here is great. It's yes. Never go back to drawing on glass. Absolutely. Also get rid of the glare. Okay, question. How do I find out what iPad I have? If you go to settings, general, about iPad, I think it tells you there. It will tell you like what model and what year I think is in there too. Jay, I'm not making any changes. This is more of a practice piece. This is more of a practice piece that I've drawn this once already, and I want to go back in with practicing it again. So essentially what happened was, Jay, is I draw a lot of the time for myself. I actually just recently, just today, watched a video by Angry Miko, and he talks about this. I drew it for myself, and when I do that, I actually, when I'm just sat on the sofa and I'm drawing, I actually enjoy it more for the fact that there's no pressure. And because there's no pressure, I can just draw what I want to draw, and I don't feel restricted in any way. And then I can kind of just reel it back in a little bit. You know, if I feel like, oh, actually, this would make a really good tutorial, I can then work out, okay, what was the steps involved, i.e. what we're doing today? What was the steps involved? How can I go back on this to the point where I can then make it into a tutorial? So yeah, I think drawing for yourself sometimes is really important. I think especially with what I do with all of this stuff with the Joel Create, you know, sometimes it's a lot of pressure to constantly like just draw for the fact of a tutorial. Sometimes you want to make sure that you maintain the love of the whole thing by just drawing for yourself. So yeah, that's pretty much what happened with this piece. I'm not going to change very much at all. I really liked how it turned out the first time. So yeah, it probably won't change too much from that one. want to keep it very much the same aesthetic. Okay, we are very much getting there. There was just so many things just like gradually just adding certain things, and this is the thing what will happen in the tutorial is you'll notice me just go, right, we're going to go to this place now out of nowhere. We're going to go to here now. We're going to add in a little glisten here on the glass to make it look like glass. You know, little things like that I started to realize my tutorials are no longer going from A to B very quickly. They are very much going from like, I want to go here now, I want to go here now, I want to add in a shadow here, and I'm all for it because it helps me just run with it. It helps me run with the thoughts. Like here, I'm going to darken up behind the frame a little bit to, I'll clip this actually. I'll clip this into here. Why is that? Oh, that's on the glass, that's why. Do I need to clear that side a second? That's not what I meant to do. Yeah, from that side, and we go from that layer, tap on it and we go to clear. Yes. We go here, add in a shadow in behind here, shadow in here, shadow just where like the window's really up against the alcove. That shadow there just really helps just add so much depth to the scene of just the shadows. Just like the shadows just create so much realism and depth at the same time. Oh, hang on, I missed Rob's. Rob's, if you're still here, thank you so much for hanging out, and I'll see you again hopefully next week. Oh, that Pen.Tips link, Milo. Can you tell me where you got that from? Because that's the old one. There's actually a discount code for 5% off. It's probably in the the description of any of the latest videos. If you want 5% off, there's a new code. I can grab it. I don't know, Milo, if you let me know where you got that from, because I must have missed another video or some point where I've added that in. If I go to like the latest tutorial there, we go to 5% off. Yeah, Luna, here, here's 5% off. You're welcome. Where did I get that from then? Did I leave it in the description of here? Shit. Go lives. Let's edit that live. Pen.Tips. Updated. Thank you. You're welcome. Also, if you're ever interested in a discount code for the Sketchboard Pro that I'm using, I can get you 10% off of that. I know a guy. No, I can get you I can get you 10% off of that as well. I don't think all the old ones do. I went back through every single video. It might be live streams that do, but I went back through every single video on the channel and added it in the description of each one. Because I just grabbed that link from the latest tutorial. So I think bar maybe one or two that I couldn't be asked to do. The rest is all done. Gotcha. Right, where were we? I think we were adding in some like yellow and colour onto here. So if you saw this on Patreon, what do you think? Do you want it as a tutorial? Not Patreon, Discord. Would you like it as a tutorial? Am I asking a silly, obvious question? I don't think I want to add that light in the same direction as just like where it's coming from. I like this look to it. Some slightly brighter areas on this glass as well. Will look quite nice. They must have been set to add though. So I'm going to grab that, turn off colour fill. Grab that and cut it from this one. So I can set this one to add. I think it was set to. And we can go in there and add in some oranges, some yellows, and really brighten up the sun. At the same time, I need to maintain my shadows, so I need to try and work out how I can achieve that. Okay, cool, right, so I think pretty much I've got the basics there in place, ready to go. Looking at it, I've got it on my computer on the side. I think then I literally just started moving into details which were provided by the inking and the dry ink brush, and then this one was the one where I was starting to scratch in little bits of detail here and there. Like here in the wood, I will draw in like lots of small lines to create sort of that nice wood carving. I can draw in a few more from the right hand side over here. Did I add anything down here? I don't think I did. And then I was just adding it everywhere onto the frame, etc. So cool, let's add some of these darker lines here in the shadowy area. So very much using the dry ink, Nico and Stucco only to pull off the whole effect, and keeping it real loose. You see, I'm just chucking it on. Sometimes it doesn't even land on the object I'm trying to drop it onto, but that's fine. I don't particularly mind so much, as long as it enhances the effect and doesn't make it look too rubbish. And the odd sort of scratch in your highlights as well really helps to also just add more detail. It's like a groove of the wood, or if this frame of the window here is made out of wood, it's just a little groove in it that's a shadow as such. Look, oh, I love it. I love that effect. Love it. Let's also like add in little areas of like detail here, so such as like a darker corner under here can be added in. I can sort of scratch away a bit diagonally just to like break that up a little bit. Now, Luna, did you buy one, did you? That's awesome. By doing that, you help support the channel as well, so I appreciate that. I get a little bit of a kickback, and Pen.Tips, they like me a little bit more, so there we go. Pen.Tips, by the way, fucking awesome. Like, as a company, very nice people every time I've dealt with them. Very cool. Okay. Let's move up to this area of wood. So we just darken up this bit here, just chuck in some streaks on the back here. Lots and lots of little streaks before we move back into the highlights. And this is all on one layer. We're just chucking in these like groove details as such. Yeah, we can add in like little bits of like extra areas in here at the top. That's fine. Did I add any over here? I did. We'll darken up the frame, especially on these inside areas where they're not going to get too much lighting. And I can see that you wanted that as a tutorial, so maybe it was a silly question. Let's then chuck in some more details up here. What music is playing right now? Okay, cool. You want the sketchboard as well? I can grab it. Let's have a look. Sorry, it's usually in the description, but maybe I didn't bother. I don't know, maybe I changed it. Let's have a look. Let's go to Studio. Let's grab a new link. Doing work on one layer is dangerous. You're absolutely right. Although lately I've kind of like swung the other way a little bit. Maybe I like the danger. Who knows? But yeah, it is. I mean, you might as well utilize it. I utilize it sometimes where you maybe don't need to, but sometimes when you do need to, I don't. If that makes sense. Okay, I have the link. There you go. So that's 10% off if you want to buy a Sketchboard Pro. They are pricey. I will not deny that. They're very pricey, but obviously they're not my product, so don't come at me. But once you start using a sketchboard, you will not go without it. The like ergonomics of sitting upright and just having it, I don't know, it's the ergonomics more than anything. The position that you can just make it fully adjustable. I used to get like strains in my neck, but also like my shoulders would like roll forward because I would lean over the piece all the time. Whereas now I don't get that, because since I had the sketchboard, which has been a while, and they're great. Lovely stuff. So we're slowly moving in towards the highlight stage. What I'm going to do before I carry on though is I'm going to add the green stuff. The green stuff, which I think was Aurora, and we add in a big chunk of it up here, and then just let that like drape down really lovely and small like that, and then just add in a nice amount around the frame like this, a nice little bit around the green. I initially didn't do this, and then when I did, I was like, that was what it was missing. The frame, like the window, was just a little bit too bare, and then by just adding in this little extra bit of detail, or a little unique feature should I say, it really helped the piece just have that little nice cozy look to it. It's all well and good just having like the landscape, but if you've not got enough to go with it, it can be very sort of basic in a way. So we'll block that in a little bit better. We'll create a new layer, clip it to that. Oh, we don't need to clip it. Let's be brave, let's not clip it. Grab the yellow, keep the brush size nice and light, and then just add in some really lovely bright areas of lighting that are making their way around the side, down here, and then the underside of some of these, just catching the light, especially in this area here. Definitely add some down here. I just think it really helped the piece just come to life. What do you think? What's up, Roro? How you doing? I try, Jay, I try. I wouldn't say pro though. With all, every day is a school day. I will often sit down and do a tutorial by somebody else. Like, I love sitting down and doing one by like James Julia. I love watching Angry Miko. He's awesome, very talented. I love to sit down and just do a tutorial by somebody else. Not all the time, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I find them quite hard to watch. Like, that's an interesting topic, I guess, but when you're making the content, it's kind of tricky sometimes to watch somebody else's content when we just do things differently to each other, you know. We do things differently, and so it can be a little bit tricky sometimes to watch somebody else's, because you're like, well, why did you do it that way? Why don't you do it this way? Or like the sort of the wannabe professional in you, I guess, goes, wow, I kind of know where they're going next, so I'll just carry on. In reality, you go back and you're like, wait, what did they do? And you're like, what the heck? Angry Mika's awesome. Very, very cool. Should we add the flare in before I carry on? Because that may help me finally with the lighting. I think it's maybe this one. Organic, no. Sticker. Flare. Overlay. Was it overlay? Who knows? Oh, that doesn't look right. That doesn't look right at all. 2 secs. Let's go ahead and switch that back to the original one because I need to work out, what the layer blend mode was and also what color I used. So going back into here. Okay, lighter color. Very interesting. And I love messing around with this flare effect as well. This flare effect is so cool. I love it. Switch you around as well so you can see what I'm doing. We'll go lighter colour on this one. Increase that size back up. We drop that in there. This gives this beautiful breakout. I love it. The way it breaks out from the window onto the outside of the scene. This little bit of light that comes across here is just that little je ne sais quoi. Let's clear that layer though, and we'll do it again, but with this colour instead. I think it's a little bit lighter. Why are you only dropping it there? That's nice. Did I do it there last time? No, I did it a bit higher. Lindsay, did you buy them from that shop that I just went to? Which, by the way, how sick this bad boy is. Obviously, it's not official, but you know what it is. It's cool. Small little company. Lindsay, if you're spending all that sort of money, you need to sort me out and, you know, sort yourself out with a sketchboard. You know what I mean? I've got businesses to keep happy. Recent dry ink. Right, now let's start scratching in. You got the Stitch one and the Winnie the Pooh one. Did you tell them I sent you? Lindsay, we got Lindsay. Did you tell them? Did you say your boy Joel sent me over? Shout out Joel Create. Listen, whoa. You guys can't be flooding over there buying cool stuff. Yeah, Lindsay. Yeah, you better. I do actually have a lot of love for all of you, by the way. Like, I'm only ever messing. Always. I'm a nice guy. But if you buy some ever again, and I sent you there, you know what I mean? We could have had a business deal there, me and that company. Instead, Lindsay's just gone and said, Joel, I remember back in the early days of streaming, right? Where I first started doing it, and I remember like having a joke like that with somebody else. And I thought that we were kind of like, you know, so much internet friends, I guess. And they took it the wrong way. And I was like absolutely mortified. And I was like, listen, like, you got to understand, I don't care, like, as in any way for any sort of like aggro like that in any shape or form. Like, I'm an easygoing guy. Like, please don't ever, ever, ever think I'm being serious if I like call you out as a joke. Like, some people do get like that, and you know, I understand why. You know, people have had different experiences in life and stuff. But I'm like, yeah, like, please never ever think that I would like talk to someone like that normally. Like, to the point where like, you guys come here to watch tutorials, not to be shouted at by me. Roro, I gotta go. So busy today. Gonna miss the fun. Bye, guys. Roro, be sure to check the stream out. But otherwise, we'll be here next week. You got a lot done already, Joe. Yeah, we're flying a little bit, aren't we? We're flying a little bit. Again, I apologise for the... If I peel this off, which, by the way, is a magnetic screen cover by the wonderful folks over at Pen.Tips. Oh, that looks a lot better, doesn't it? You see the difference in the colour? Sometimes this, which is probably a little bit grimy, or probably it doesn't. The thing is, it's meant to give you that paper feel. Tell you what, oh no, I've got to draw on glass. Nah, sod ya. You can look at some horrible colours. I'm not drawing on glass. Which, by the way, I can just magnetically just like pop this bad boy on. Line her up. Voila. Sorry guys, deal with it. What's up, pen and paper? Missed the later part, but eager to join the next one, Joel. Have a good day. Appreciate you dropping into the chat, and have a wonderful day, my friend, and hopefully see you again in another stream. Be sure to come and say hello though and get involved with the chat. I just messaged them to say their stuff is sick, but I found them watching your stream, and then and you wore their merch. Chee! Milo, I sit Buddha style when I draw on my lap. And Kevin says, I always draw on glass. But Kevin, I think that might be a bannable offence, I think. What do we think? Nah, you do you. You do you. Right, we're gonna get into some really kind of ballsy highlights now. So sit tight. We're gonna create a new layer there. We're gonna go ahead and create a new layer, change that to add to. Yes, we are. And we're gonna get Nico roll, and we're gonna really just chuck in some color. Be brave. You see, like, sometimes they're just scribbles and just chuck-ons, and that's fine. I just want to adjust the shape of that one a little bit. It's a little bit too bright for a second. That's good. Let's go up a layer, back up to here. Because now we're going to go ahead and start chucking in some really nice sort of scratchy details on like here. So like brightening up the frame. Really adding those really cool streaks along here. Some of the bits I would probably correct, and I might point them out shortly, but like little scratches here. Lovely. Go down here. Go down the frame edge here as well, making sure that's got a nice bright edge to it, rather than the sort of grey colour that I had there. Which I know why I didn't do that, because when I added the leaves, that doesn't make any sense, because the leaves there, you see this like line of leaves over here, they blocked the light onto the frame slightly, so I didn't bother adding them on there. So that is exactly why I did that. We'll be brave and just add in like some scribbles here in the glass. Nice stuff. Let's go along here now, although I do want to see, I did add a lot of highlights originally onto here. We'll roll with it, but I might undo them because again, same principle applies. I think that they would be blocked. Likewise, maybe down here we would have like a much brighter edge here on the frame, and then we just have to sort of let that just disappear. Maybe the very lightest bit over here on the edge, little something maybe like that. I don't want to add too much on that window. That window I want to keep pretty minimal. I will add some onto here though. I think I may have to ignore my own decision there. I'll also add some onto here as well. A couple of scribbles back on the back of this. Like you see, there literally are just squiggles and zigzags, just to sort of tie into the rest of the design. Ooh, lovely. Let's then switch to color to this. Is it almost white? Yes. So we just get in here and just add in some whiter details, so we can then go back in on top of these and sort of streak in with white instead of the yellow. Sorry, I realized I was just like losing my mind a little bit in the piece. Nice one though, nice piece. Sure, we'll jump on the next. I appreciate you, pen and paper. Milo says, I used to draw on glass, then I upgraded, test the matte, and it's better for me now. Lindsay, who do you buy from? Why won't it let me post its classed as an ad? No. Well, Lindsay, what are you trying to post? I said it twice, but it's not posting. Yeah, you got it on Insta. There's a link. Milo's able to post it, yeah. Listen, if you buy anything from there, please just say your boy sent you. Sort him out. Too much, too bright, Joel, relax. Okay, we're also missing a vase, aren't we? So we're drawing a vase. Let's create a new layer. Let's drag it underneath. See, I don't know how many layers we've got in here, but we've got a good amount. Damn. Okay, let's just let's actually grab edit canvas. Let's grab a drawing guide. Move that drawing guide to there so I can make sure this layer is assisted, which it is. I can draw in a vase of sort. There we go, there's a really ugly vase for you. Let's also go ahead and move that into position first, which I think actually that's pretty good positioning. And we need to go back up to this layer here with all the highlights on and erase them from this area here where they run through there. Likewise, this layer here too. Get back to the vase. what's the link for today? Oh yeah, by the way, I'm not like sponsored in any way by them. I've just bought a cool hoodie, cool top. Go check them out. I think they're in the UK. Actually, they must be. I ordered it yesterday and it came today, so they gotta be. I think we can get away with a much larger brush on here. No, Queens, this is literally just the built-in brushes. They are the built-in brushes for paint. So this is literally just, the only ones I've used is Painting Nico Rull. I've used Painting Stucco. I've used Drawing, is it Inking? Inking, Dry Ink, and for the leaves I used Artistic and Aurora. That's it, just 4 brushes. I gotta tell you now, I think too many people in the Procreate space get lost in buying too many brushes. Now that comes from a guy who sells them, so you know, just letting you know, like, no, I'm not hating on anybody, I sell my own, but I do think there is a purpose for them, don't get me wrong, but I do believe a lot of people get too caught up in trying to create what's that guy's name on Instagram? Is it Garaf or Garaffa? I don't want to, I'm not butchering it, I apologize. But I can't remember his username. It's something along those lines. He sells brushes and he is like wonderfully talented, but people just immediately go, that's what I need to try and replicate. And it's the same with Angry Miko says this all the time, that you don't, just because you see someone using those brushes doesn't mean like you need to like use them, if that makes sense, or like buy them. Like you can still pull off the same effects with other brushes and other people's brushes, or the built-in ones. Like there's loads of options and stuff, and like I do agree with that. Like again, I sell brushes, so like I'm also maybe shooting myself in the foot, but there is a purpose for certain brushes. But yeah, you don't always have to grab them, if that makes sense. Like, that's no shade on anyone who loves buying it. You do whatever the heck you want to do. But sometimes, like when you first, what I kind of mean by that is when you first get into this space, you see people you admire and go, I need to do that, and the only way I think I can do that is if I use their brushes and copy their style, you know? Like I think there's plenty that you can learn without even buying a single brush from someone. Oh man, my back, I keep leaning over really bad because I'm just being lazy with my posture. Let's brighten up this area here. Okay, that's one done. We'll just merge them together, duplicate them. Warp it maybe a little bit, create a different shape. Okay, let's go back up to the add layer at the top we added for some of these beautiful scratch highlights, and little zigzags, little dashes, little just areas of light that are landing on. Lovely. We'll do the same one here too. That one didn't come out quite so nice. Let's undo that. My vase is quite a lot wider than it was in the practice, in the initial piece, so I may have to just use the side of the pencil a bit more to just add in some what looks like overly highlighted areas. So let's undo that. Let's bring that down a bit. That's nicer. That's nicer. Not a fan of the vase, it's absolutely rank, but let's see what we can maybe do about fixing that. Let's maybe bring the points in at the top. Oh, I've just done all my highlights. Let's do it again. You got to make these changes. That's fine. Let's have a look. Where are we, guys? Where are we? Grapher, that's the one. I try not to buy too many brushes, Jay says, after buying. You bought a lot, haven't you? Kevin, that highlight cow I posted the other day was one done with the acrylic brush that comes with Procreate. Where's that acrylic brush? Do you know what category that's under? So I can take a look at it. Acrylic. Oh, acrylic. Lots of fine details in there, isn't there? Interesting. Lots of streaks in there. Very cool. I've got more details to add. Yes, that's what I was doing. Let's go back to inking, dry ink. I think these little details down here, like that I'm adding now on like the brick and stuff, are just like these extra little bits that just really help the whole design just pop a little bit. Just these extra little scuffs and scrapes here and there of the lighting. Oh, I didn't add clouds in the sky. That's what is missing back there. I did think it looked a little bit plain. I must have added that in with like a really light yellow. Okay. Let's go back to painting. Let's go back to Nico Roll. Grab Nico Roll and chop away. Let's rotate that. That's a little bit too dramatic in that way. That looks okay. I think there was a blend mode set to it as well. I think it was something like, I don't know. It was really, really light. I think it might have even been soft light, but maybe doubled up. Yes, I think it was. But if we make one really large, I love doing this with clouds. I did it by accident in one piece, but just like more streaks up there. Because I think I added like, this layer here, if we duplicate that, those ones are a little bit vibrant. The clouds don't match to the original, but it's okay. It's okay. do I like try to go a bit more in depth with more? What time? How long have we been doing? Only an hour 44, 42. This is all right. It's all right. Okay, let me catch up with you guys. Remember where you are. You can have thousands of brushes and didn't use it exactly. Pen and Paper says, I always use other brushes and try to imitate other artists' textures. For sure. There's loads of things you can do with the built-in brushes in terms of replication. Jay says, yeah, Milo, I have so many brushes I don't use them. I'm afraid I'll need them one day though, so I just keep them. Little hoarder you are. Lindsay says, okay, I'm back from spending money and hyping Joel up. Painting is coming along. What did you buy? What have you bought now? And Luna says, do you ever draw this in your own style type things? Is that even a thing? My brain is getting tired. It is a thing. I've not done them myself, but I know a lot of people do. I think if I was going to ever do one, I would want to do one for the purpose of like a competition. You know, I would want to be like, I want to give more of a bit, maybe a bit more of a purpose to it, if that makes sense. Right, let's grab this and put that under there. Let's flip it horizontally and move it over here. I want to move it perfectly horizontal. Can I do that? What I want to try and do here, let's just roll with that for a minute. I want to alpha lock the layer and fill it with black and move it above onto here. I was hoping that that would like reflect. Oh, it kind of does if it's really, really subtle. And I'd have to like flatten this down a little bit. I'm trying to reflect this in the glass, and I'm trying to think of a way where I can like really, really brighten this up. I don't know if I've made a layer somewhere like that's a bit darker somehow. All it has to do is sit underneath the frame, so it could go all the way up here. Where did that layer go? Now this is me experimenting. This is me just seeing what like other little things we could add into the design. So that kind of like obviously does what it's supposed to do, but if we get rid of all of this, all the excess, I think I don't even need to make that like a black. I think I can make that almost like the green. And then see if there's some sort of blend mode that maybe pulls it in a bit better. Or like a little something like that where it's really subtle, but you kind of get the impression that it's like moving across onto the glass. It's quite a heavy burn that. I'm not too sure I like the colour. Like that's nice, it's just that little bit of green. Alright, we'll do it manually. We will... What could we do to it? Could we motion blur it? No, I don't think we can motion blur it. We could Gaussian blur it ever so slightly, just to get rid of its like fine edges to it a bit more. Like that. But I feel like it's gone a bit too high. So does it need to sit here? Sorry folks, I'm just chatting to myself. That's nice. That is subtle and nice. I kind of like that. A little bit of green in there. Now Lindsay says, no, just the hoodies, Joe. I can't buy a sketchboard. I don't get good use out of it. Get your merch sorted and like we can. You will be happy to know. Like I said this last week. I'm not BSing you when I say this. I am so busy right now. I can't explain to you how busy I am, but I've reached out to someone who's going to design a design for the t-shirt. I told them exactly what I want. I mocked it up to an extent, and I told them just to go get it done. So I hope that will be sorted soon. Once it's sorted, I don't know, maybe I'll debut it on a stream and it'll be proper sick, but until then, just relax, all right? It's happening. I've paid for it. Money's left my bank account. It's gone, you know? We're moving. Relax. Kevin says, so how many times has a tutorial said you need this brush so you can download it and find out you already had it? Is that what people do, is it? Yeah, Lindsay, I'm working on it, alright? Relax. Come on, man. Give me a break. Let's hang on. What time is it? It's not yet changed. I think it's trying. Is it trying to change now? I want to desaturate that window a little bit, give it a little bit less of a bright yellow look and a little bit more of a whiter look. So I've dropped the saturation on there. This window here on the right, I have not done enough justice to the first time I did it. Has the music stopped? I can't hear anything anymore. There we go. Yes, I've not done it enough justice like I did last time. Oh, you're working on it. Like me wanting to give you money is hardship. God, Lindsay, I tell you what. I don't ever think about banning people permanently in this place, right? We're usually a really nice bunch of people, but there are certain people that really get on my nerves. And there's only one of them. Oh, that's too bright over there now. Too bright. Need an in-between. We'll drop the opacity. Try and just add in a little bit more of that glass effect in there. Need to just isolate the panes of glass a bit better. Nah, Jay, you're all good. Michelle with the new subscription on YouTube. By the way, if you want to support the channel as well, you can become a member. You can become a member. Just become a member. The link down below. There's loads of ways to support the channel. What am I doing? God, I'm getting mad into these layers now. I think I'm done. I think if I could back up to like this highlight layer and just use Nico, oh no, not Nico, inking, dry ink, and keep it nice and small. Yeah, that works. That works. I actually think some aspects of this one I prefer more than the original, but this definitely is way more doable than I thought it was going to be for a tutorial. I think potentially in the background I could redo some of the hills and just give them a tiny bit more definition on the top edge here. So like bring in this ledge a bit more here of this bank. Yeah, and then also go down to this one here too. Maybe just bring in, it's like making no difference at all. What's going on? Yeah, because I'm going the wrong way down the layers, that's why. So I can maybe just bring in this top edge a bit more on there. We go up to this layer, maybe just bring in like a lovely like shadowy streaky look in the background there. Just try and just bring those hills to life a little bit more. We don't want to add too much though. They're so far back that we're not too interested in them. Just a little something back there. And then if we compare it to the original, there's obviously things I've done differently, but I'm pretty happy with both. The sky on this one, not as sure. I used a lot more blue in this one, and I'll bear that in mind. The hills look a little bit in a different pattern, so that's fine. Overall, it's fine. I think the positioning is better on the new one. I think the amount of green I used on the frame is better in this one. The frame is also a little bit less coloured on... That one has a little bit more colour running around the outside. This is me kind of talking to myself now, kind of giving myself like mental notes for later. Like if I go down to this layer here now, and actually go back in with, say, this colour with the Nico, make it a little bit bigger, I could add in like a block of... Oh, you're an idiot. I left the photo on at the very top. Undo that. Oh no, my new one. Wait, what? That's on. That's the old one. That's the new one. The new one has more colour at the top. Yeah, I did it fine. But you could maybe block in the window a little bit stronger, maybe a little bit more on the right side as well, just to box in the design a bit more. I'm pretty happy with it, you know. I think the windows could do with less of a smudgy look to it. I think a little bit more... Oh, this hoodie is just so sick. A little bit more of the... less of the smudge look, a little bit more of the crispy lines to it, you know. Wait. Hang on. Let me catch up, because I wasn't looking at anything. Oh, so my presence isn't enough now. What's up, Kiki? Thank you. I appreciate it. Joel, please check the flowers on the vase. Yeah, so do you mean as in they don't link up correctly? Okay, now I can see my whole screen changing colour. You mean to say that the flowers look like they're not coming out the top of it? Let's not do that. Let's maybe just... God. How's that? No, you can't make it exactly the same. You actually can't. I think you could add something like really nice here, like, I don't know. You could even have like a silhouette of a cat or something, just like looking out onto it instead of the vase, or even next to the vase or something like that. Or like a bird floating. You don't want to overdo it too much. There's quite a lot to do in the design, but that's just like a few little things to add in. So Kiki, because you've just joined, I drew this the other day. I posted it on, what's that app? No, Discord. Let's take this off actually so we can see the correct colours, which by the way is a magnetic screen cover by Pen.Tips. If we, oh God, oh, that glass is disgusting. That's the actual colours. They look so much nicer, don't they? And if we go into here, oh God, it's so slippery. If we turn this off, this is today's version, and yeah, it's good. I'm very, very pleased with it. The only thing actually we could do is, oh god, I gotta stop. It's making me want to curl up. From a video shooting point of view, the pen mat does frustrate me a little bit in that sense. But that's not like an everyday person kind of thing. Not saying I'm not an everyday person, you know what I mean? As in, like, it will adjust colours sometimes. Oh, that's so much nicer. Right, let's create another new layer. Let's just grab like this dark colour down here. I don't want to use the airbrush. I really don't want to do that. I want to just like avoid that at all costs. There we go. Just darken up the hills just a little bit closer to us. I like that little touch. Nope, Flo does not. But I don't know what type of setup she's got where she's not seeing herself in reflections and stuff. And also, like, I know what my old tutorials used to look like, and you would see my forehead in the videos, or just be constantly looking at my nostrils, and I don't want to do that to you. But it's probably like an angle thing, so she's probably pretty chill. She's back here. What, she gets herself in reflections? Isn't it like an ND filter on the camera? I'm trying to explore the world of cameras and stuff, so. We ain't about that nostril life. Like, what does mine look like if I start? Not my nostrils. What does my, like, am I visible? Like, that's fine, but in like the early stages of a design, let's change this to here. Let's just change it to like this color. Oh my god, let's just create a new layer. You see that? That's what we would see every time we started a tutorial. We don't want to do that. And the camera just looks a bit naff, and then you chuck this on and it all somewhat disappears. I think I just need to give this one a good old clean, to be honest with you. Actually, should we just do that now? Although I will say, as much as I'm like joking around with you, the glass does feel nice, like from a text, from just like a normal use. Like, it does feel quite nice. It feels nice and premium. In case you're wondering, this obviously is the pen matte screen cover, but this is the Doudro screen protector cleaner. So it's like a little, and we'll just spray it on here, and then you use the actual bottle itself to wipe it down with. This is a bit frustrating. Doudro sent me their screen cover. It's good. My favourite screen covers, in case that's a question that comes to mind, is the pen matte screen cover. I really love, but nothing out of all the actual. So this is like, I would define this as like maybe a different type of product. I would say that the nothing beats a paperlike. Like, it's actually one of the hardest things to try and explain in videos, but when you've used like different type of screen covers, I won't say by what companies, but and you feel how much like it's one of the most boring things to try and talk about, but it's something to be talked about, is like how much texture they put on the screen cover, and some of them it's like really lumpy and bumpy, so you get a lot of texture. Feels really cool, feels like you're getting that quote unquote paper feel, but you will blow through your Pen.Tips and your actual like plastic ones real quick. Whereas like this is just my favorite for just like multi-use, multi-purpose. Take it on and off, the texture still feels great. That looks a lot nicer. and then you pop it in its little plastic thing and it's done. It's pretty cool. Right, what are you lot whinging about? Nah, you can't use your sleeve all the time. You've got to be a little bit bougie with it from time to time. Do I want to start getting into like lots of small things? Do I have a bird silhouette? I think I do somewhere. Let's have a look. Let's see if we can find a bird silhouette. There's some birds. Mate, what is happening here? What just happened to my layers? Why is all of this... Oh, it's under the frame, but it's not in the group anymore. Oh, well. Top layer. I can never get this brush to work properly. I don't think I like them. I think they're just like too defined. I don't know if you like run over them with the Nico just quickly, just to sort of take away from them. But nah, I think we're good. A cat would be cool. I'm not drawing a cat. I don't even think I could draw a cat. Not at the angle I would want to draw it at. Not without a reference photo. I don't think I could. I probably could. Probably underestimate myself. Should we try and draw one in? Let's see what we can do. Nico. Let's get a body. Silhouette. Let's grab the orange. No, let's undo that one. It's just like a vase and a cat having like a good time together and just like they're best friends. It's kind of funny. It's like the cat's on a date but with the vase. It's like it's almost should be two cats. Let's leave the cat over there. Let's give it some space. We don't want to wind up the vase. You know what I mean? Got to give it space. If we chuck that into here, That's fine. I can go to my add layer, grab, say, this yellow, go back in with inking and the dry ink. God, I tell you what, if I slouch one more time, I really need you to go mad. Oh, damn. I don't want to adjust my layers. I might have to... No, hang on. I don't want to adjust the layers. I'm like, didn't intentionally mean to do this. So let's move this up to the top. Let's get rid of the birds. Let's change this to add. Let's grab our cat layers again. Move it above the add layer. Add that in there. Okay, cool. Now we're back on track again. So like, I think that's fine, you know. I don't think I need to add anything else really to that. Maybe like just some little scratches down, up and down here and on the back of the hair, just to continue with the same effect. Odd little bit of fur on the back of the cat, just catching some light. The odd little bit in the tail. I was thinking of like, could we isolate like the front legs sort of, but I think that's like a detail that you could just get away with not doing. You could just do this instead. Too much. Always need to calm down with the. Yeah, we'll just leave it. I think that looks pretty cool. Just the cat just sunbathing, you know. Put a mouse in there beside the cat. What is this? A fucking zoo? A little mouse in there too. Oh, Kevin, man. Yeah, killing me. Go on, let's draw a mouse. Sod it. How could we draw a mouse? I don't even know how you would draw a mouse at that scale. Okay, I can go bigger than that. Yeah, that's fine. We'll draw the tail. Do mice have long tails or short tails? I can't really remember. This is really hard with the Nico roll at this sort of scale. I think it's working, you know, but it's very. I don't know what you would draw for their feet. I can't even. I think they're maybe a bit towards the bottom, like a bit more like that. I might have to shed some pounds off of this mouse a little bit more towards the top. Not that much. And then just try to draw in like. This is so hard at this scale. Look how flipping tiny this is. Tell you what, we'll leave it like that and we'll go back in with colour and just start chucking in some colour. Cat is such a vibe. Okay, maybe we'll have to add the cat in. Okay, so we add some colour to the mouse. Let's add some shading underneath. Like a little bit of a shadow. This is silly. Let's go in with the inking, dry ink, this layer. Ah, too much, too much. Relax. I think we did it. I'm sacking off the vase. I said it. I'm getting rid of it. So Charles, thank you for subscribing if you're here hanging out. I like the fact that the cat is slightly off center. And also the mouse there is just looking over a tiny ledge. And I think, yeah, no vase. All right, let's mask out the vase first because I may come back and change my mind. Is it this layer? Yeah. Let's mask this out. Nico roll. Let's go back to dry ink. That would mean that then these now can get some real love on the side of these bricks as well, because there's nothing blocking them anymore. So these can go like really nice and vibrant on those bricks. Yeah, cool. Pretty sick that. My head is pounding. Sorry, Lindsay, what did you say? Long, what's happening? Lindsay, what is it you're trying to say there, sorry? Long, a mouse long with... Oh, sorry, long, yeah. I'm with you now. It's an old question, isn't it? Sorry. Adding that... that's adding a whole Friends vibe to the piece, for sure. You love the vase. I think we can do one of each, though. I think we can do one of each. Maybe we could do both. Yeah, the vase is a bit too much to add in with both. Or is it? Is it like just, is it a vibe? It does fill out the scene a little bit more, doesn't it? What if we turn off that? Ignore that line running through it, but I feel like it just, maybe it is okay, maybe it is balanced. But maybe it needs to be more to the left. Like, I think potentially if it's going to be included, it needs to be like a little bit more over here. So it's not trying to be part of these two. It's its own thing over there. You know? Yeah, I think the side over here is fine. like that's not too bad. That gives these two their space, and doesn't make it look like the vase is trying to like get involved with their like little moment in the sun. Defo to the left. Okay, so let's turn the mask off. Let's delete the mask. Let's actually go to that layer, grab this selection for the vase, which is all of this. Grab cursor and move it across. Stick it on top of that stuff there. Then we'll go to this layer now and mask this again and get rid of painting. We get rid of this stuff in here. So these like highlights that are inaccurate. My only concern is I don't get too much space to work with on the brickwork here. Like I really am in a limited space to really like pull off this like really nice crispy look. That's all my concern is really. It's a good suggestion with the cat and the mouse. I think it's cool. I've never drawn them in a tutorial before. I can't say I've ever drawn a cat before or a mouse, but it works. It definitely adds a lot of stuff going on. I actually prefer the cat and the mouse. I think it's a really cool thing that I've not done before. But yeah, we could do either. I like the cat. I like the cat's details. I think they're like the whiskers on the edge here are just like these extra little things that they just about catch your eye, but they're just there in case you do want to look at them. And our little mouse friend as well. I'm not going to get too much now into sort of moving things left and right, because potentially you could put the cat in the corner, yeah, with the mouse. My personal preference is to leave the vase out. People are going to like stuff, people are going to not like stuff. I think the cat and the mouse is a much more interesting focal point than a vase. You have a life in there rather than just a vase of flowers when we already have flowers. So in my opinion, the cat makes more sense with the mouse. Yeah, people are going to have preferences. I think my preference is the cat and the mouse, I think. Yeah, but overall the whole design, I'm really liking it. Lynn says I prefer without, to be honest, and like Kevin said, it's like a story. Yeah, good fun. Good fun though. The whole design is very fun. I really like just the whole thing was very, very fun. Lots of painting and just having fun with that style. I've been painting some other designs recently that are based off of you know, when you go to the beach sometimes and you'll see that someone's like stacked a bunch of like big like pebble rocks on like into like a tower. That's an upcoming tutorial. This obviously will be as well. This will be on Patreon. We've got the cherry blossom part 2 that's coming up, and this week is pet portraits on YouTube. So a simple pet portrait style with like a painting sort of aesthetic to it, which is very fun. Very easy as well. Very easy. Lindsay says, you know my favourite bit? The greener and the flowers on the frame. You like this bit, do you? On the like wrap round. My idea is that it's like a cottage window. That's what it is, you know. It's so like you could imagine all this like ivy like and just greenery just wrapped around the whole house over time, and that kind of aesthetic where it just blends into the countryside. That was my whole idea. Very fun, very fun. Should we see how it went? So we started off by going backwards and forwards by showing you how to create the perspective of the window frame, and then just getting into blocking in colours, blocking the frame, blocking the bricks, blocking, this is where I was showing somebody else something else, blocking the bricks at the bottom, and then start to identify the bricks one by one. Let me zoom this video out a bit for you. Then blocking the hillside and the sky, get some streakiness in the sky, and then blocking a green path that runs between all the hills, and adding the light source as well. That then gives you an idea as to where things are going, so then you can go ahead and like start to add shadows on the left behind the frame and add that glassy look to the actual window frames themselves. No idea what I'm doing right now. Oh, stucco at the bottom on the bricks just to add in some more detail onto them. Then we added in the greenery, which nicely frames the framed design that we've already done, if that makes sense. It's like very weird that it works. Some yellow on there from the highlights and some pinks. Then we get into further highlights, then start scratching them all in. Highlights everywhere. Then the vase, or the vase. I think Americans call it vase, don't they? It's a vase. Highlights on there, highlights on the bricks. Forgot the clouds. Reflected the green in the glass. Adjusted some of the hillside, flipped between them about 1,000,000 times. Then we added a kitty cat. And a mouse. And then messed around with a vase and moving a vase. Yeah. I think Lindsay as well makes a good point there about like the colours. I think there's a good amount of colour in the whole thing. One thing I did though in my first attempt at this is, if I could copy all and paste, is I went to hue saturation, and I think I brought it down towards the pink side a little bit more, so maybe at like 48%. That gives it a much more like warmer red look rather than a yellowy, almost green colour, and dropping that down just 2% makes all the difference, and I prefer it like that. I prefer it like this, and I will probably add it right at the end of the tutorial, but like that's my preference. Sick. I have no way in affiliated with that company in any way, shape or form. I just think the hoodie's, the jumper's pretty sick. That's all I think. But yeah, that little just change of colour looks really cool. Just like little extra pink, not pink tone, but more like a reddy rosy tone. Looks a little bit nicer than the yellowy greener tones. Both are fine, but that little extra bit of pink in the end just looks really nice. And that's something you should always do, is just go back and just see if you can move your hue left or right, especially with a sunset. Like, you can make it go either way. Is the pet tutorial any pet pic? It can be any picture. Yeah, it can be any picture. In the tutorial I give you a photo that you can use. It's like a reference photo from like a royalty-free website, but at the end of the tutorial I also show you what you can achieve with that same tutorial but with other dogs. I'll show you actually how far. Let me show you. If you are a super supporter, if you are a superstar supporter, if you are a Hall of Fame member over on Patreon, you can get early access to it right now. Right now. Let's have a look. Live screen. So this is the tutorial for the weekend. Of course, the screen protector makes it look a little bit more greyed out than it is, but just a fun tutorial with your pets. You can see the aesthetic and what the aesthetic's meant to be. It's meant to be that nice, scratchy, cartoony look, very loose, chucked in painting. It's just the whole vibe that I'm rolling with at the minute. It's very carefree, it's very stress-free, it's very fun, and you'll get a reference photo to achieve this. You can do it with other dogs as well. for example, I'll show you here. This is the thumbnail for the video. You can see we've got Charlie on the top left, whose eyes, by the way, I nearly swore again, I don't really like them. They're too like he's like scared for his own life, but he doesn't look like that. But then you can just do it with lots of other dogs, is what I'm saying. And I sort of explained that. Like this one here in the bottom left, this one here has so many sort of patches of colour in it. It's so cool. It's just really fun. But like Charlie's eyes, just like, it gives you that kind of vibe. Like, but I whipped it together just for the thumbnail. But then you've got Daisy as a puppy, where she had like a black nose. She's so cute, but now her nose is pink. Like, they just change so much when they grow up. But yeah, Charlie's is good. I don't mind Charlie's, to be honest. From a distance, I can tell it's him, 100%. It's just the eyes need to be like adjusted. I think they need like that little bit around the eye where it's like a little bit white. This might be the wrong thing. I don't know. Yes, that's Charlie. I can see that straight away. That's loads better. When you know what your dog looks like, and you can just tell, you can just like, I just know that the tutorial is doing the right thing, if that makes sense. I'm such a wheeler cutie. Where's Daisy and Charlie? They don't come in here anymore while I'm streaming. I can't. They come in, and I have like a light that's over here on the side, and they just like bash into it and stuff. So I tell Mrs. Create to take them away for the stream. I've only got 2 dogs. Only 2 of those are mine. The other 2 are just photos from websites. Havanese. I've never heard of that breed before. I'll have to have a look though. Yeah, so that's Friday's tutorial. So have some fun with your pets. You can do it with a cat, I would imagine. A cat would work exactly the same way. I don't know why I'm saying imagine. It would work with a cat. It's exactly the same thing. An all black cat, you've got to follow the same sort of principles as Charlie there. And like, you have to let the black not be black. You have to let it be grey. And let the line work, like the line work here, that's the darkest bit that you can see everywhere. That's the bit that you need to try and remember when you come to do your own. I don't know if I've got anything else I can show you right now. Oh, do you know what? I'm really happy with today's design, actually. When I go back to it and I just see the colour change, the additions we made, very, very pleased with it. Very pleased. Really fun. I appreciate your help for a change. Awesome. Well, let's wrap it up then, shall we? Let's wrap it up. Pet portrait on Friday. Please show some love for that tutorial. Next week, over on Patreon, is the Robin tutorial, the bird Robin tutorial that everybody went mad for and was really, really looking forward to. And I got around to making it, so that's ready for next week. That comes out on Tuesday. We've then got another landscape at the end of the month for Patreon, and then we move into another beach scene. But it's all different most of the time. Kevin, have a wonderful dinner, my friend, and the rest of your day as well. So yeah, lots of stuff to work out on. I need to squeeze in a Joel Designs video at some point. Jesus. Yeah, we'll work it out. What else was I going to say to you? Oh, that's one thing actually. I might have touched on it earlier. There is a new tier on Patreon it's a tier called the Hall of Fame. Now, I actually we picked up Mrs. Create's wedding ring from a jeweler who we had to have a ring made to fit around the design of her engagement ring. And it turns out we were in there and they were talking about all their social media and stuff. And turns out he does Patreon and he does YouTube and everything like that. Awesome, super talented, like jewelry maker. Awesome. The ring she's got is amazing. It's so cool. And it's so cool that she's got something like completely unique to, like, they slot together, the engagement ring and the wedding ring. I'll probably show you a photo of it one day once the wedding comes around. But he has Patreon, and he was saying about, you know, how people just want sometimes just to support you a little bit more. And so I created a Hall of Fame tier. It's not something I'm going to throw down anyone's throat. You do whatever you want. I don't mind. But it's there in case anyone wants to more generously support over on Patreon. It's just there. It's an option. It doesn't, you don't get any extra benefits for it. It's just for that exact sole purpose, and we just called it the Hall of Fame tier now over there. So that's just a new thing that came out this week, I think, as well. So yeah, that's it. So guys, keep an eye out for the pet portrait tutorial over on YouTube. Next week, got a beautiful painting on a robin on Patreon, so please make sure to check that out. And if you're not already a patron, you can join us at patreon.com/JoelCreate. Have a wonderful week, have a wonderful evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I love you all very much for hanging out with me, hanging out and just vibing, just chilling. So I will see you again probably next week. Much love, have a wonderful week.